Welcome back to the Dr. Rich channel. Today we're going to do a reacts video to Dr. Schmidt, a gastroenterologist who has a hilarious take on many common medical situations. Backed by popular demand, we have Veronica Hernandez.
Hello again, guys.
Doc Schmidt explains medical records to his wife.
Whew, I had a brutal day at work today. Oh, I'm sorry, did one of your patients die? Oh no, nothing like that, I was just in the clinic. Oh, okay. But I had a lot of new patients. Oh, gotcha, so lots of old medical records to review. We didn't even have their records. Why did the patients come in then? What? Shouldn't they get you their records ahead of time? Well, yeah, sometimes they do, but often it's not even the records I need.
Like, that never happens.
Happens all the time.
So there should be, ideally, this central repository for all medical records that physicians can get access to. And I think a lot of patients just kind of have that expectation. Unfortunately, the healthcare system isn't run by Elon Musk. All of the medical records are spread out through a dozen different EMRs or medical electronic record systems that don't communicate with each other. Different healthcare systems, hospital systems, academic institutions, military hospitals, and none of those systems talk to each other. Not to mention that despite an enormous push over the last decade to convert everything to electronic, there's still a lot of handwritten notes out there that are, frankly, undecipherable.
I can attest to that.
They don't just send everything? Well, I don't want them to send everything. Okay, so why are they sending you what you don't want? I don't know. They aren't specialists in my area, so they don't always know, for example, that I want the pathology report in addition to the procedure report.
I need the op note, the history and physical, and the path report. I don't want 7,000 pages of other stuff. It's really just this system where it's designed to make it easy to input information. So it's a bunch of click, yes, no, rate on a scale, auto macro text that go in. It's really not that much more decipherable than the handwritten notes. It's just, instead of having one barely legible handwritten note, you have 43 pages of just stock text answer, yes, no, that's completely meaningless.
Yep. I couldn't agree more.
Can't your nurse or medical assistant do that? There's too many patients for them to do that, and different patients need different studies. Okay, so then why do you make the patients come in? So I can ask them what tests and studies they've had. And they bring the records along? Not usually, no. Okay, so then you can call their old doctor and have them email the records over. No, it has to be a fax. A fax? Yeah, but usually it doesn't end up coming through, or we have to like request it multiple times.
That is, it seems like an anachronism that people would use a fax in 2022, but that's really the rule rather than the exception for transmitting healthcare records.
Yeah, and you have to be very careful with that too.
Yeah.
Making sure you're sending it to the right place.
Right, you send it to the wrong fax number, like one digit's off, and then all of a sudden you've got a HIPAA violation and, you know, everybody goes to, you know, medical records judge.
I can't imagine how relying on a piece of technology from the 1960s might cause delays. Usually the records come in days later, and half the time it's still the wrong stuff anyway. So then what do you do? We usually just end up repeating the test that the patient already had done. Okay, none of this makes sense.
So you've seen that where patients end up getting tests done over again just because they can't get the records.
Yeah, and then they end up getting upset because they already had that test done. But I mean, it's hard. Like, how do you know what got tested when you don't have that?
I mean, from the practitioner standpoint, it's difficult because, as he's saying, you point out, we don't have the records. They don't automatically get sent ever. Occasionally, a patient is a staunch, you know, healthcare advocate, and they bring copies of all of their stuff. And then the challenge there is, like he's pointed out, most of the time it's the wrong stuff. Yeah. They've got, you know, labs from 17 years ago that's meaningless, or stuff that doesn't pertain to urogynecology or our area of expertise.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just a discharge summary with some patient education and nothing to do with the results.
That's right, and they'll bring in something that is meant for them, but doesn't transmit any meaningful information to the medical provider.
So that lady in 19, her chest x-ray just came back, she has pneumonia. Oh, okay. Did you start her on azithromycin and ceftriaxone? Yeah, I was going to. Blood pressure's a little bit low too. Maybe give her a liter of fluid. There's something you should know. What is it? She's 2 months pregnant. What? Yeah, G2P1 3 G2? Are you sure that's right? No. So what do we give her? Well, we can't give her ceftriaxone and azithromycin. What if that hurts the baby? Well, maybe those are safe in pregnancy. Who knows? We could Google it, I guess.
If all else fails, Google it. even in medicine. So in OB, there's like a numeric description that comes with gravid and para, and there's 1 digit on the first one and 4 digits on the next one, and it's supposed to account for every possible pregnancy outcome from miscarriage to ectopic to live birth. And it's unless you do this all the time, it's completely confounds other specialties. They have no idea what it means. Which is funny because you think you're a healthcare professional or a doctor and you're going to be able to understand what other people's shorthand means, but most specialties have their own shorthand that no other specialty has any idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's very true. I've seen it.
So you've rotated through all these specialties. Is it like everybody has their own different nomenclature that nobody understands?
Yeah, and like you said, with Mother Baby, I did it, and the GTP, it's something that people are like, what?
What is that? They don't even know. They're saying that they don't even know what it means.
No, let's call OB. They should admit her. She's pregnant. I tried calling them, but then they started asking a lot of questions I didn't understand, so I just hung up. What? Something about gestation? Yes, we're on our own.
So that's a tricky one too, because if it's an admission for primarily a medical condition and it's considered to be prior to viability, in general, OB is not going to want to be responsible for that admission. Perhaps they'll round, but they don't want to take that as a primary admission. That goes back to medicine, but it's a constant turf war between those two specialties as far as who should get the admission. And that being said, we are acting to another video. You can check out this link here where they talk about all the doctors in other specialties having no idea what you can do with a pregnant patient, as if they're some kind of an alien or something like that.
Let's come back to that. We can still give her fluids, right? I don't know. I mean, fluids can't hurt the baby, right? The mom drinks fluid. We're talking about IV fluids. Shoot, you're right. And is this blood pressure even low for a pregnant woman? No clue. Maybe my mom will know. Is your mom an OB-GYN? No, but she was pregnant a couple times. Oh no, the nurse just paged. Patient has a fever to 101. Tylenol? I'm calling my mom.
So it is amazing like how little all other specialties know about obstetric care and what things can and can't be done.
Well, I think it's also a constant fight between, or not a fight, but a conflict between nurses.
Oh, really?
ER and labor and delivery nurses.
Yeah.
Are you going to take that patient? And it's like, no, you keep that patient. It's like you said, it's not a viable. Certain weeks, they come up.
There are some medicines, very few, that are always safe in pregnancy, basically Tylenol and vitamins. And I guess I should put a caveat, as long as they're not having liver failure. And then there's certain medications that are never safe in pregnancy, like ribavirin and Accutane. All other medicines are basically a risk-benefit proposition. Penicillins are generally safe throughout the entire pregnancy. So if that was perfectly not confusing, consult OB. As a healthcare professional and a mom, do you feel like you have a finger on the pulse of what's generally good, bad, safe for pregnancy?
I'd say as a provider, I have my resources to use, but as a mom, I'd keep it just to Tylenol.
Okay. All right, moms, you heard it here first. And that's generally good advice. So thanks again for helping us do a reacts to Dr. Schmidt's videos.
Of course, thank you.
If you found this video utterly hilarious, please share and make sure to turn on your notifications. Thanks for joining us.